Hi friends, in this video we are going to discuss the approach towards NCRTs for the UPSC examination. We all know that reading NCRTs is a must for the UPSC examination. However, when a beginner starts reading these NCRTs, he gets confused. There are many questions which comes to his mind, and these questions I have listed down here. These questions are: why do we need to read NCRTs? Can we directly jump to the standard books like Lakshmikant, Spectrum, etc., etc.? Can we replace NCRTs from notes of NCRTs by the toppers or by coaching institutes? Do we need to read the old NCRTs along with the new NCRTs? Can I directly jump to the new NCRTs? Do I need to read Tamil Nadu textbooks as far as history is concerned? Do I need to make notes of the NCRTs? And if yes, then how to make these notes? So these are the questions which generally come to the mind of aspirants while beginning to cover NCRTs, and I'm going to answer each of these questions exhaustively. Once you complete this video, I can promise you that all the doubts regarding NCRTs will be cleared. Also, you will get a unique strategy of covering the NCRTs. Let me start this video with why do we need to read NCRTs. Guys, the most important reason why do we need to read NCRTs is NCRTs provide you a very strong foundation. They give you conceptual clarity on basic concepts. See, most of the aspirants who take up the UPSC examination are coming from the science background. So they have lost touch with some of the basic concepts of polity, economy, society. And if they do not read these basic concepts and they jump directly to some advanced books, they will miss out some very basic concepts which generally UPSC focuses in the preliminary examination. Let me illustrate this with one of the examples. Let us see this question which has come in the year 2020. This question is on constitutional government. If you read Lakshmikant, Lakshmikant directly starts with what? The historical background of the Indian Constitution. Lakshmikant does not discuss some basic concepts of Indian polity or polity in general. For example, what is a state? What is a government? Last year there was one question on state also, concept of state. If you have read just Lakshmikant, it will be impossible for an aspirant to solve that question. There are also questions on rights, equality, discrimination. So these basic concepts are not tackled in these standard books like Lakshmikant and other books. So if you directly jump to these standard books, you will miss out on these concepts and you will not be able to solve these basic questions which come in the prelims examination, and you might miss the prelims examination cutoff by small marks. Therefore, reading NCRTs is a must. There are some other reasons also why reading NCRTs is very essential. Let me show you a few questions which have come in the UPSC examination directly picked from the NCRTs. You can see here this question is on Mandapas in 2019 directly from the Themes in Indian History Part 2, directly picked from the Themes in Indian History Part 2, directly word to word question have come from the new NCRTs. Let me show you more. You can see this question, indigo cultivation, directly from the new NCRTs, okay, chapter ruling the countryside. Directly, word to word, even word to word, questions have been framed from the new NCRTs. So, the doubt that should we read the old NCRTs as far as history is concerned and ignore the new NCRTs, don't do that. Don't do that. If you do that, you will miss some of the important questions which are being framed from the new NCRTs. So can I leave out the old NCRTs? Let us see. So this is a question which has come in the 2022 prelims examination on Jana text. Which of the above are Jana text? And let us see this old NCRT R.S. Sharma, Ancient India. You can see here Buddhist text. This is a text on Buddhist text and clearly mentions Avandanas are Buddhist text. So you can easily use this knowledge. Avandanas are Buddhist text. Delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this. Directly answer comes 2 and 4. This means what? UPSC is directly picking questions from old and new NCRTs word to word. If a sincere student has read all the NCRTs, new and old, as far as history is concerned, he will comfortably solve most of the questions which have come in the UPSC history section. Guys, I'm telling you, history is a pain point, and many students, they run after various notes of coaching institutes, okay, and they miss out on very important, okay, NCRTs because our time is limited. So if we don't read the standard texts and if we start reading some notes, you will miss out on very important stuff. Okay, let me answer one more important question. Do we need to read Tamil Nadu textbooks? Yes, at least one reading we should give. Why? You see this question, Prelims 2022. Directly it is given in the old and the Tamil Nadu text. You see here, Aradeva. So the point is very clear that questions are coming from these textbooks. Okay, how to cover them, what is the right strategy to cover them, I am going to give in this video. A very scientific method so that you can optimize your effort. Okay, let's answer one more question before we go on to discuss how to cover NCRTs. So the last question is, are NCRTs important for the mains point of view? You can read this question which has come in 2014. This question is on secularism. Indian secularism versus Western secularism, directly from the polity book, Indian political theory. Directly you see difference between Indian secularism and Western secularism. 3 points are given. This means what? Directly, even in the mains also, questions are coming, particularly in General Studies paper 1, directly from the NCRTs. So reading NCRTs is a must. I'll show you one more thing. Just you see the magic here. You see this question. Why not directly read some coaching institutes notes on NCRTs or toppers notes on NCRTs? I'll show you. Very strong reason I'll give you. Because what I see these days on YouTube channel, there are many YouTube channels which are very big channels and they are making some colorful notes, green, yellow, blue color notes, and students are getting carried away, and what they are doing, they are directly reading those colorful notes but they are ignoring the NCRTs. Let me just give you this. Why do you need to read directly the NCRTs and not the notes of anyone, be it my notes also of NCRTs? Directly you read as far as prelims is concerned. See, mains is very different ball game. In mains, concepts are asked, okay, where you don't need to mug up facts. You need to just understand them, have some points, write in your own words. But as far as prelims is concerned, questions are fact based. So if you read some notes of the toppers, and if those toppers, while making the notes, have ignored some of the facts, assuming that these are not important, but the UPSC asks for those facts, you will miss out. Let me just show you. This is a page from class 6 NCRT, page number 2. Class 6 NCRT. You see, and you see at the footnote, okay, there is a sentence mentioned that Jana Gana Mana was translated by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore from Bengali to English in January 1919 in Mandapalli district of Chittoor. Directly you see this statement directly picked, directly manda palle, directly. Can you tell me honestly, if you will make two notes tomorrow, will you make these notes? Obviously not. Obviously not. No one will make such kind of notes, because then you have to make the entire book as a notes. What is notes? Notes is for crux, for revision. That's why I tell reading NCRTs is a must. Don't rely on any other notes. You can rely them for revision, but at least one reading of these books are very essential. Now let us give you a strategy, a very scientific approach to cover these NCRTs. I can challenge you that this strategy you must not have come across on any of the platforms till now. Okay, so let us start with the ancient NCRTs. Okay, how to cover ancient India, how to cover ancient history. Okay, so as far as ancient history is concerned, you have to read the new NCRTs, the old NCRTs, and also the Tamil Nadu text. How to read it? So what I would like to suggest is that you can have this book, the old NCRT, which is the R.S. Sharma, as the base book, and whatever you read in other books like the new NCRTs, Our Past 1, then Themes in Indian History Part 1, then Introduction to Art Part 1, and this Tamil Nadu History Class 11th book Volume 1. Whatever you read from all these books, you need to write it in this book, so that next time you don't have to read all these books again. And how to read them? So what you do is, suppose you start reading and you start reading from, suppose you read a chapter Indus Valley Civilization. So what you do, you pick up that chapter, read from here, this is your base book, then read the same chapter from here, 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 and here, and whatever extra points you have got, because 90% of the content will be same. Whatever extra, some facts you will get, write it here in this book, so that next time you don't have to read it again, you don't have to read this again, you don't have to read this again, you don't have to read this again, you have to just read this book. And just by reading this book, you will be reading all these 5 books, just by reading one book. How many of you think this is amazing? Many people, what mistake they do is that they first read this entire book, then they read this book entirely, then they read this book, then they read this book. That is a very unscientific way of reading. You pick up Gupta Age. Suppose Gupta Age you have to read. Read from this book, read from this book, read from this book, read from this book, and read from this book. Might be Gupta Age is not mentioned here. Just like 5-6 lines are mentioned. Gupta Age is not mentioned here. Suppose 1 page or 2 pages is mentioned here. Okay, no problem. Whatever I have got, whatever I will get, I will write it here. Whatever I will get, I will write here in this book. I hope I am clear. I hope I am clear. Okay, so you have to read, okay, chapter wise, chronology wise. Okay, always read history in chronology wise. And if you cover Indus Valley Civilization, cover it from all the books together once. If you read Mauryan Age, cover from all the books at once. If you read Gupta, cover all from at once. Okay, Sangam Age, cover from all books at once. Okay, so this will, okay, give you a very solid foundation. You will get a lot of what? Confidence. Okay, further what you need to do is, after you complete one chapter, okay, go through the questions given at the back. Okay, so there are some questions given at the back of this Tamil Nadu textbook, some questions given at the back of all these chapters. Go through them. Go through them. That will give you more understanding. Okay, what is important? Okay, what is important? Further, in history, okay, that there are some terms mentioned, okay, in NCRTs. Okay, some terms mentioned in italics. Those terms are very important. In history, I'll tell you, you have to keep in mind that while reading history, you have to understand and remember the chronology of events. Chronology is very important. Next, you need to remember some of the terms which are mentioned in the NCRT books. These terms are very important because directly UPSC asks this term means what in the ancient India. So I hope ancient India is clear. Now let us go to the medieval India. As far as medieval India is concerned, the same thing we will do. Okay, we will keep this book as the base book, and whatever we read extra from these books, we can write it into this book. We can write it into this book. For example, if we are reading Delhi Sultanate, okay, we read from this book, 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 and all extra points I will mention in this book. So that next time I don't have to read this, 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 only I have to read this and I have to revise. It will take time. I'm telling you, it is going to take time, but this is the most scientific way of doing it, and once you do it, your tension will be over for the entire year. You will not have to worry at the end, because at the end what happens, I'm telling you, most of the students get confused, because obviously it is not possible for you to read all the 5 books just for medieval India. Is it possible? Just ask yourself. It is not at all possible. It is not at all possible to read 5 books for one subject. That too where 3 or 4 question maximum will come. It is not possible at all. So best strategy is this, okay? And read always in an integrated manner. Suppose you are reading Mughal, read from all together. If you are reading Marathas, read from all together. Don't make the mistake. First I read this book entirely, then I read this book entirely, then I read this book entirely. This is a stupid way of doing it. Don't be that stupid person. Okay, don't be that stupid person. It will be an inefficient way of reading these books. Okay. Now let us come to the modern India. As far as modern India is concerned, I strongly recommend that read this book. Okay, old NCRT. Okay, by Bipin Chandra, class 12th book. Please read this book. This book is very good book, and you can solve most of the questions using this book. Okay, but you cannot ignore the new NCRTs. Just go through them. Whatever extra point you will get, please note it down in this book. Note it down in this book. Note it down in this book. Okay. And here also you can apply the same thing. Suppose you are reading the British policies in India. Okay. So once you read this book, then just search for British policies in India. Search for this here, search for this. Whatever extra point you will get, write in this. Okay. But don't ignore new NCRTs. I'm not saying that new NCRTs you should not read. Read the new NCRTs also. For example, you see, when I started this PPT, okay, I showed you indigo cultivation, modern India question directly from the new NCRTs have come. So don't ignore the new NCRTs, but as far as understanding is developed, will be developed by reading this book. Understanding of how the events have evolved. Because in history, I'm telling you, chronology is a must. If you don't understand the chronology properly, you will struggle to understand history. And the problem with the new NCRTs is that they are written in theme based. They are not written in a chronology based. That is the only problem. That is why I am not very comfortable reading the new NCRTs. I am more comfortable reading the old NCRTs, but questions are coming from the new NCRTs, particularly the factual questions. So I have to read these new NCRTs. Particularly, one more point you should keep in mind, there are some boxes mentioned in the new NCRTs. Many questions are coming from these boxes. Don't ignore the boxes in the new NCRTs. Okay, so with this, okay, we have completed the new NCRT and old NCRT as far as history is concerned. So as far as the story of old NCRT is concerned, it finishes here. Old NCRT is not needed in any other subject apart from the history. Similarly, Tamil Nadu textbooks are not needed in any other subject apart from history. So we will forget now old NCRTs, and we will also forget the Tamil Nadu textbook for the further subjects like geography, polity, economics, science. We don't need to read old NCRTs for them. Old NCRTs were only needed for this ancient, medieval and modern history, and Tamil Nadu textbook was only needed for ancient and medieval. Let us now go and let us see how to cover other subjects. So let us see now, okay, world history. Okay, world history we have left out. So in world history, it is not there in prelims. World history is not there in prelims. So we need not struggle a lot as far as world history is concerned. Many students make a mistake that they spend a lot of time in world history. If you see the type of questions which have come in the world history, you will not find more than one question comes in the world history. So I strongly believe for world history, this Arjun Dev book, okay, class 9th and 10th, old NCRT is more than enough. Old NCRT is more than enough. This is only for mains. This is only for mains. If you have time, you can read this book also, and you can read this book also. You get some points. Here you will get Cold War and all, and here you will get some points on world history also. But the base book will be the old NCRTs, okay, theory, the story of civilization, volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 and volume 2. Both these books are very, very, very important. Okay. Now let us go to some other subjects. Okay. Let us start, okay, discussing the strategy towards geography. As far as geography is concerned, geography can be divided into 3 parts. I generally divide geography into 3 parts whenever I read the NCRTs. These parts are world physical geography, Indian physical geography, okay, and human geography. You can divide human geography also 2 parts, human geography world and human geography India. So you can divide it into 4 parts also, okay. However, as far as human geography is concerned, the number of questions coming from the human geography is relatively less and mostly are current oriented. I'll just show you, okay. So what you have to start with, as far as geography and NCRTs are concerned, you have to start with the world physical geography. Here what you have to do is that you have to read all the world physical geography together, all the NCRTs which cover the world physical geography together. For example, you have to read class 6th book, class 7th book and class 11th book, fundamentals of physical geography, our environment and earth and our habitat. And here also I would recommend what you do, first you read this book chapter wise. Suppose you are reading soil from this book, so cover soil from here, write any extra point here. Cover soil from here, write any extra point here. When you are reading water from here, read water from here, any extra point, write it here. Read water from here, any extra point, write it here. Okay, so that next time you don't have to read this book, you don't have to read this book, you can directly read this book. Okay, so here also you have to read in an integrated manner. When you are reading geomorphology, read it from this book and this book. Write the material from this book into this book, transport it into this book, so that this book will be your mother book, and this book you can discard it after first reading. Okay, so that is a scientific way of covering NCRT. Otherwise, a lot of time will be wasted revising all these books. Revising all these books are not essential. Okay, reading them is important and jotting all their points into this book and then revise only this book. Okay, similarly, if we see the Indian physical geography, as far as Indian physical geography is concerned, again we have Indian physical geography class 11th and contemporary India class 9th. You see, all the chapters have similarity. You can see, read, all the chapters will have similarity. Okay, like, okay, physiography is here also, physiography is here also. Okay, then vegetation is here also, vegetation is here also, drainage is here also, drainage is here also. So read this book. After you complete this book, that chapter, drainage chapter, read the drainage chapter from here. After you read vegetation from this book, read vegetation from this. Any extra point, jot it down here. Any extra point, read physiography from here. Any extra point, jot it down here. So that you don't have to read this book again. You don't have to read this book again. And 90% of the content of this book, you will find in this book also. 90%. Only some small facts will be extra, which you can write it down in here. And after that, you can discard this book. Okay. How many of you think this is a scientific approach and you like this approach? If you like this approach, please give a like button. Please hit the like button and please share your opinion in the comment box. I look into each of your comment and I try to reply most of the queries which you raise in the comment box. Please do that. Okay, this encourages me to make more videos for you and to guide you more. Okay, let us now see what we can do as far as human geography is concerned. For human geography, sir, again what I would like to say that first you read what human geography static, okay, concepts, that is there in class 8th book resource and development, and class 12th book fundamentals of human geography. This is what world human geography concepts. And after you read these two books, then you go to these two books where you will read Indian human geography, which is contemporary India part 2 class 10th book, and India people and economy class 12th book. Okay, so these two books you can read together. Like resources are there here also, mineral resources are here also, industry location is here also, population resource here also, population resource here also. So you can integrate these two books and you can read it together. Suppose when you are reading mineral resources, first you read from here, then you read mineral resources from here, and transport all the important facts into this book. Okay, so that next time you don't have to read this book, you have to just revise this book. Okay, so with this we conclude geography as a subject. I hope you now must be very clear how to cover geography. As far as geography NCRTs are concerned, okay, whenever you come across a map, okay, please study the map also. Because in geography I have seen whatever maps are given in the NCRTs, many questions are framed on that. Let us now go to the next subject. Next subject is polity. As I told you, reading polity is very essential before you start reading Lakshmikant. Many people recommend that directly you can switch to Lakshmikant because these books are very basic. But I can tell you, I showed you one question, Constitution. Okay, like this, there are many questions which are coming from the NCRTs, and if you have not read these NCRTs, you will not be in a position to answer them. Further, for understanding federalism and various dimensions of federalism directly from Lakshmikant, you will not understand, because Lakshmikant does not talk about the fundamental concept of federalism, fundamental concepts of rights. It does not discuss that. It directly starts the factual part of it, okay, which generally, okay, will only be useful if you have understood the basic concepts of federalism. I'm giving just one example, okay, I'm giving just one example as far as federalism is concerned. But there are many such concepts which are mentioned in these NCRTs, but these are not mentioned in any advanced book like Lakshmikant, etc. So reading of these books is very important. So class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10th. Here I would like to make one small suggestion. Read this class 10th book properly and 9th book properly. Why? Because in class 9th and 10th book, okay, you have many GS2 mains topics covered. For example, pressure groups, political parties, so it will help you cover GS2 syllabus also. Okay, now let us go further. Which are the polity books you should read from NCRT? So you have to read this book. This book is very important, Indian Constitution at Work. Many questions come from this book. Then this book is generally ignored by many aspirants. This is a very, very important book. I will say that very, very important book. Please don't miss this book. Major concepts of polity, okay, social justice, freedom, okay, citizenship, secularism, all these concepts are explained very beautifully in this book, and this understanding of these concepts are very essential in your GS2 preparation and GS1 preparation. If you get time, you can read this book also, Politics in India Since Independence. It will help you to cover India after independence mains part. Mains GS1, India after independence. Generally, one question comes from this section. One question in mains, 10 marks question come from this section. So one reading is more than enough. You can make notes of this, okay, or you can rely on some coaching institute notes also. Why? I told you, for mains you can rely on coaching institute's notes. Why? Because mains you don't need to remember each and every fact. Mains you need to remember the analysis, that's it. Because you have to answer analytically. You don't have to remember each fact. So you can read this book and then you can refer to any coaching institute's notes, not a problem. You can refer the mains master notes also. Okay, so I believe polity is clear. Which all polity book you need to read, which all polity book are essential for the prelims, which all polity books are essential for the mains. For example, this polity book is essential for India after independence. Okay, now let us go to the next subject. The next subject is the subject of economics. In economics also you have books from 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. So which book to start with? As far as economics is concerned, you have to do the opposite. You have to start with this book, class 12th. First read this book because all the important concepts, okay, of the macroeconomy is mentioned in this book. All the important concepts. What is national income? What is monetary policy? What is fiscal policy? What is external sector? Everything is mentioned in this, and understanding of these concepts are very important because every year at least 5 to 10 questions come from this book. At least 5 to 10 questions. After you read this book, then you can read this book. And while reading this book, the same chapters if are mentioned here, read this book. The same chapters if mentioned here, read this book. That's it. Okay. You will have, you see, like here sectors of Indian economy. Here also sectors of Indian economy is there. Okay. Globalization Indian economy. Here also globalization Indian economy. Read like this. Okay, but these two books are the base books as far as economy is concerned. This book will help you in mains also. GS3 book. This book is going to help you Indian economic development in GS3 mains also. Let us now go to the next subject. Next subject is about science. Reading science is not that important compared to all other subjects which we have covered. In science, generally I have seen questions are coming what? Current oriented. Okay, so if you do not have time at all, then you can selectively read only the biology part of the NCRTs. But if you have the time, I would highly recommend read class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10th and also class 11th and 12th. In class 11th and 12th, okay, you have to read selectively some important chapters. Okay, I am going to make another video on each and every subject of NCRTs to explain you what should be your focus while reading each subjects. That will be a separate video because this video will be a very long video. In that, I will come out with important chapters of the science NCRTs which you need to read. Okay. But right now you have to read all these books. Okay, I'll just show you one thing. Okay, I'll just show you one thing. You see this question which has come in the year 2020. You see difference between the plant cell wall and animal cells. The plant cell and animal cell. You see 3 statements are mentioned. This class 8 book, chapter 8. And you see using these 2 facts which are mentioned in the NCRT, you can easily answer this question because this statement will be incorrect statement if we follow this statement. If we follow these 2 statements, this will be the correct statement, this will be incorrect statement. So if we remove 2, we'll get the answer 1 and 3 only. Just see, UPSC is following these books, yaar. Why will you not follow? Why you should not follow? Why you must not follow? Give me one reason. Give me one reason, sir. Why you should not follow this? UPSC is directly picking. You just see, I have made this video. I told you that there are many videos on YouTube on how to cover NCRTs. But watching this video will give you conviction to read the NCRTs because in UPSC preparation, I am telling you, many people start the preparation, but very few have the conviction to carry out. And when you will have conviction? You will have the conviction when you understand, yes, questions are coming from these books directly. Then you will get that conviction. Yes, I am going to finish this book. I am going to really, okay, master these books. Okay, there are some class 11th and 12th books also in science. In that, I will recommend this is very important. This book you can miss, you can leave also, but there are 2 chapters that are very important which I will explain you when I will make a video on separately on science. If you need this video, please comment in the comment box, sir, we need a separate video for each and every subject. So in the science video, I am going to explain which chapters to leave and which chapters to read. Similarly, in physics also, which chapters to read, which chapters to leave. Okay, I'll explain you. But as far as biology is concerned, you can read the most of the part of it. It is very important. Okay, but here also there are some chapters that are very important. Okay, last, if we see society, this is the last book which you need to read. Okay, and this is only for the mains point of view. This is not there in the prelims examination. Society is not there in the prelims. So as far as society is concerned, read this book. Okay, class 11 Indian Society and class 11 Social Change and Development in India. Okay, these two books are more than sufficient to answer any question of GS1 mains from the society section. I tell you, I have cracked mains 4 times and I have not read anything other than these two books as far as society is concerned, and I have got decent marks. I have got decent marks in General Studies paper 1. So these two books are more than enough for the mains part of GS paper 1 society. Okay. So my friends, with this I would like to conclude now. I hope watching this video you must have got a clear-cut understanding why NCRTs are important, why to read old NCRTs as far as ancient and medieval India is concerned. Do we need to make notes of the NCRTs? If yes, how to make these notes? I have explained you. I have also explained you how to scientifically read the NCRTs, okay, topic wise. It's the same topic you need to cover in class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10 at one stage. Don't read like entire class 6 once, then entire class 7 once, then entire class 8 once. That is not a very effective way of reading. Then I have also cautioned you that if you are reading some notes of some coaching institutes or some YouTube channels, because there are many colorful notes are coming, mind maps are coming, colorful notes are coming. Okay, guys, don't waste your time on that. Okay, I'm telling you from my experience, I have cracked the prelims examination all 6 times with one of the highest marks. Okay, so I can tell you, reading NCRTs, okay, is you cannot replace them through any notes, via any notes. Don't replace them. You will be, okay, repenting. Okay, so if you need more videos on each and every subject of NCRTs, please let me know. And please share this video, please like this video and subscribe the channel. I am going to come out with more such videos where I will be giving you a very unique insights, okay, into the strategy which will really help you to crack this exam. Okay, thank you my friend, bye bye, take care.